What's up, Texans fans? It's your man Chess White, aka Jargon2, and in this video we're going to talk about Week 8. It's going to be the Houston Texans going up against the San Francisco 49ers, Brock Purdy, CJ Stroud, and you've got CMC, Ricky Pearsall, don't forget George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, one of those do-it-all players. 49ers have got one of the top 10 rosters in the league without any question. Sometimes they're in that top 5. Nick Bosa on defense. They've got Fred Warner over there, always in the top 15 of the top 100 players list. This is going to be an extremely difficult challenge for the Texans. This is not an easy schedule, y'all. And Brock Purdy's going to come into this game and do what he does, which is be efficient. I'm not as high on Brock Purdy as a lot of people out there are. And I look at him, what he did in college, very productive player, good decision maker, but as Cam Newton might say, more of a game manager instead of a game changer for me. Now, that doesn't mean that the Niners are a bad team or they can't win a Super Bowl with Purdy. If you put a good enough surrounding cast around this guy, I think he could win a Super Bowl. And it did come down to that one final drive in overtime, right? So they weren't that far to begin with. But this game is going to be Kyle Shanahan coming back to Houston. He spent a lot of time in Houston, and we know this offense really well. The difference being with San Francisco, they've got Trent Williams at left tackle, Hall of Fame level player. They've got an elite defense, and they've got players at the skill positions at running back and tight end who are elite. Wide receiver, they have not maintained an elite level of talent. So you've got Juwan Jennings, Sky Moore, Brandon Ayuk. Is he going to be in this game? We'll see. But with the Kyle Shanahan offense, all you really need is a healthy CMC, and he can play at an MVP type level for them. And now notice that when I'm talking about that Niners offense, I'm saying basically that CMC is a bigger threat than Purdy. And when CMC is going, he makes Brock Purdy a lot better. So that goes back to that point about his surrounding cast. And Kittle is going to be a problem for any of our linebackers to match up against. But this game is going to be in Houston, and we're going to show up to play. And we're not going to roll over just because it's the Niners. And I do think they're in the top 5 of the most historic franchises in the NFL. Not just with Super Bowls, but with Hall of Fame players, from Jerry Rice and Joe Montana to Steve Young. Colin Kaepernick era, went back to the Super Bowl, lost to the Ravens. Brock Purdy taking them back to another Super Bowl. This is a team that has to be desperate to get back to where they were. With free agency in the draft, it's hard to keep a team together. But I give a lot of respect to John Lynch for the way that he constructed this team. Trading for CMC when he was on a dead Panthers team. Now, they let Debo go. Debo was a big part of their success for the last few years in San Fran. And to be honest, I didn't think that they should let him go. They drafted him out of South Carolina. On any given Sunday, he could take over a game and had the ability to run the rock and catch it and just be a versatile player for them. Now, what I look at with San Francisco is how are they going to stack up against the Texans. I think that they should probably be the favorites in this game. And having to play the NFC West is a really tough task. But you got to play who's on your schedule. And this team is coming into NRG. And we have to show up ready to beat them. I'm looking at this team thinking defensively, looking at their defensive line. Michael Williams, first-round pick for them. Then you've got Bosa on the other side. So, talented defensive ends. Fred Warner in the middle. And then in the secondary, Diamador Lenore. Surprised that he stayed around in the league as long as he has. Good career for him. But you've got Jair Brown. And you've also got Renardo Green. Another player that, solid mid-round draft pick by the Niners to go and pick him up out of Florida State. They always have talent, chemistry, and good coaching. Now, a lot of people want to say that Shanahan is holding this team back and that they'll never win a Super Bowl as long as they run this iteration of the Kubiak Shanahan offense. I'm not entirely sure what the expectations are for Niner fans, but the team itself has to be wanting to get back to that Super Bowl and prove that they have what it takes to get another ring. They're playing in a tough division. It's not necessarily a guarantee that they will just run over the West. Because as we just talked about in the last video, to me the Seahawks are a dark horse for the Super Bowl. A lot of people are picking the Cardinals to turn things around and get it moving and be a playoff team. And then you've got the Rams and Matt Stafford, Hall of Fame level QB with the ring. So the West is a very serious division at the moment. And I'm looking at the Niners. I'm thinking this is a threat. This is a team that could come in and beat us. They have the ability to dominate at the line of scrimmage, which most football games are won and lost at the line of scrimmage. And they have a QB who can be efficient. It doesn't matter what the stats are. It matters who walks away from this game with a win. And Brock Purdy can win games in the regular season. Now, can he take them to the Super Bowl again and win it? I don't know. I don't care. I'm really focused on what this Texans season means. And we have a super difficult schedule, but that will allow this team to become battle-tested and more ready for what lies ahead of them if they make it to the playoffs. And the challenges that Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City are going to throw at them, because those teams also have stout defenses, stout offensive lines, and can dominate the line of scrimmage. Texans' biggest question mark going into the season, as we all know, is the offensive line. And every single week, that offensive line is going to be tested. Great defensive lines in the early season stretches. And who's going to lock up Nick Bosa in this game if he's healthy? We don't have Tunsil anymore. A lot of people are questioning if the Texans are going to take that next step. This is going to be one of those measuring stick games, same as against the Seahawks. These are teams that are likely going to be in the playoffs and have had a lot of success over the last 5 to 10 years. But every season is different. And I want to see the Texans go out there and assert their will against the Niners. Similar to the record against the Seahawks, the Texans have played the 49ers 5 times. 49ers have won 4 games. Texans have won 1 game. So we don't have a history against this team of winning. And when you look at this game, you have to look at Nico Collins, just like with all of these videos. As Nico goes, the Texans will go. He has this potential to be a 2K receiver. I've said it in the intro video. I'm going to say it again. I don't think there's anybody on this Niners team who's going to lock up Nico Collins all game long, especially when they're playing in Houston. The guy is a beast, and he's got the hands, he's got the athletic ability, and the chemistry with CJ. How is he going to adapt to this new offense? And is he going to put up the same numbers as we saw him the last couple of seasons? We'll see. But Nico Collins is a top 5 wide receiver, and he has the opportunity to put together his biggest season of his career. He's been working towards it. He is a person who puts in a lot of work, and CJ does have a lot of weapons around him. And in all of these previews I've been talking about, what about the Texans' 3rd and 4th wide receiver? We've got the 2 kids out of Iowa State, but then we've got Kirk, and we've got Braxton Berrios. Who is going to step up to the plate and contribute and be a 1K receiver on the other side of Nico? Higgins might not be ready straight out of the gate. Yes, he's 6'4", and he's fast, and he's got height, weight, speed, but Noel might be more NFL ready. And if Kirk and Berrios are not ready to play in week 1, and Noel steps up to the plate, and he's ready, he's going to contribute, he's going to run crisp routes and catch the ball, then that dude might go for 1,000 yards as a rookie. None of us really know as Texans fans. We know that Mixon is out for at least 4 games. So that changes our offense significantly. I think it would be stupid to go into the season and try and run over teams with an old Nick Chubb. Woody Marks needs to step up and take on a bigger role as the season goes along. But when Mixon does come back, and hopefully Mixon will be back for this game, we have a huge added dimension to this team, because Mixon was able to create plays without any blockers in front of him. So if he has at least average blocking this season, you would have to expect him to go into most games with the ability to go and put up 100 yards and a score. And this might be one of those games where Mixon might miss 6 or 7 games. This might be his season debut right here. We don't really know what the status of his injury is. They're playing that very close. They're keeping their cards close to the chest on that one. And it is what it is. So we've got Chubb and we've got Woody Marks. And at some point, we're going to expect Mixon to come back. If he was going to miss the whole season, they should have announced that by now. The season is kicking off tomorrow. We got Philadelphia Eagles going up against the Cowboys. Now, my goal was to preview the first half of the season before it even starts, to put out a video about offensive and defensive rookies of the year, and then once the Texans play this Sunday against the Rams, put up my reaction and analysis video to Week 1. Now, Week 1 still has a lot on the line, and I'm really getting hyped about the season. Just one day away until we have real football. I'm expecting the Eagles to roll over the Cowboys, and I'm getting really excited for the Texans to kick it off in LA. Now, if you're from Houston, put your area code in the chat. Tell me which side of town are you from? What part of Texas are you from if you're not from Houston? Which part of the U.S. are you from? I want to know where all the Texans fans are at. Tell me what you think is going to happen in this 49ers game, and I'm going to see y'all in the next video. Peace out.